Okay, good afternoon. This is the Ways and Means Committee, and I will call the committee to order. First item is roll call.
Mr. Stockin,
Present.
Mr. Fanton, Mr. Curran, Mr. Decker,
Here.
Mr. Havey, Mr. Healy, Mrs. Hopkins, Mrs. Root, Mr. Crandall. 8 members present, 1 absent.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the minutes from March 8. Entertain a motion for
So
that.
moved.
Mrs. Hopkins, second Mr. Havey. All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. County Administrator has a couple items for us here.
So the first one I have is acceptance of 2018 and 2019 operating assistance funds. And there's an MOE for that. This is for our 5311 bus transportation.
Mr. Chairman, I would make that motion.
Mr. Healy, second. Mr. Havey. Is there discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Next.
So the next one is a request for approval of an agreement with Ardent Solutions for mobility management services. Ardent currently has this contract. This is a renewal, and this is also for our bus services.
Take a motion. Mrs. Root, support. Mrs. Hopkins, is there discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
And then the last one I have is a request to fill the deputy county administrator. This position has already been created. There was a salary set on our Section 4 schedule. However, this was not in this year's budget.
We have a motion, Mr. Curran, second, Mr. Havey. Are there questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. And our county treasurer has 2 items on the agenda and 2 more that aren't there, so there's 4 things to come from her now. First one, Terry?
Good afternoon. The first item on the agenda is for a budget adjustment for a sales tax projection based on conversations that we had regarding the American Rescue Plan. There are some items that we need to take care of, and we have looked at our sales tax receipts, and we believe that we can up the estimate for sales tax for 2021, and we would like to appropriate that increase in sales tax to contingency for future use for the board, for the board for 2021. It's in the
Chairman?
amount of $750,000.
Mr. Decker?
So moved.
Motion, is there support? Mr. Healy?
Second.
Are there questions? Mr. Barnes?
Yes, the $750,000 is projected to be, we expect to get more than that in sales tax above what we budgeted. My question is, there are other areas in the budget that are probably not going to, possibly not going to meet the revenues that we, for instance, the jail. Has that been taken into consideration?
We took that into consideration when we built the budget for 2021, and we greatly reduced the revenue for the housing. If that housing increases in 2021, we will experience a larger impact on that revenue. But right now, we did reduce that for 2021. So we took into consideration the lack of housing for 2020 and reviewed that for 2021. I feel comfortable with the number we have for 2021 based on the agreements I think the sheriff has with, for housing inmates.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think as we move forward, there may be other areas as the final numbers come in. This is just the first step, first thing to take in what we hope will be more adjustments. all to the good. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
The next item on your agenda is, since the beginning of the year, you have approved positions in the district attorney's office that were not funded. I have worked with the district attorney, and we have come up with the salaries for those positions that were determined by civil service in most cases. He has hired one senior typist so far and is working on hiring the second one and has leads on filling the attorney's position. So I'd like to get that money moved to cover those positions for him for the balance of the year. We did reduce that from an annual salary to the remaining 9 months that are in 2021. The amount is $112,500, and that would be coming from contingency.
Mr.
No,
Chairman, I would make
no
that-
fiscal impact on the county right now. So is there a motion? Mr. Healy?
I would make that motion. Thank you.
Mr. Decker, second. Are there questions? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried.
The two items that are not on your agenda at this point, one of them is I would like to ask permission to seek proposals for the real estate auction for our annual tax sale. We have been very satisfied with the auctioneer we had, but it's been a long time since we went out for a proposal, so we'd like to go out for a proposal for the auctioneer services.
We have a motion. So Mr. Havey, second, Mr. Kern. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried.
The last item that I would like to do is ask permission to seek proposals on a project manager. We have discussed that internally and with members of the board, and in light of the American Rescue Plan, there are a lot of moving parts in that stimulus package, and we would like to contract with someone to be our lead on that, to answer questions and be able to weed through the plan itself to make sure we're getting everything we can out of the package. So I'd like permission to seek proposals on a project manager for that position.
I'll make that motion, Mr.
Mrs.
Chair.
Root, is there support? Mrs. Hopkins, are there questions?
And,
Mr. Graves?
would that be an independent contractor, Terry, or somebody that's gonna be physically here with an office, a secretary, a phone, all those kind of amenities?
As of right now, I don't know the exact answer to that question. It will depend on the proposals that are made to us, but it could be an individual, it could be a firm. We're not sure exactly where that will end up.
So you'll come back to us and we'll talk about it before we engage in that process, right?
Correct. We will come back to you, I will come back to you on both of those issues, both the auctioneer service and a contract for a project manager, and you'll have final approval on.
That's why you're
moving
the
forward.
treasurer and I'm a lowly legislator. Thank you.
That's fine, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Is that it,
Thank you very
ma'am?
much. That is all I have.
Okay, the next item is an amendment of the Great Lakes Cheese Resolution Number 7921. I understand this is simply a typographical kind of thing. Administrator, county administrator?
It is, that is correct. We just need to correct an error. That was a typo in the original resolution. So.
Take a motion for that. Mr. Havey, second, Mr. Curran. Everybody happy with that?
Mr. Chairman, this will run through the full board.
I don't believe that you need a new resolution. I believe this is just such a small typo that we just wanted to point it out to the board because this was a significant resolution that if you read it once and saw this, that this typo needs to be corrected the second time. I don't really think you need a new resolution just to correct a typo.
I don't either, but it wasn't in this agenda to note what the typo is.
Correct.
Can you describe it? Can you describe
Well,
it?
Hold on just a second. I've got to open up the correct email that's in.
The typo wasn't "we do support" instead of "we don't support" or something like that, right?
No, it wasn't
I
that.
veto you.
So in the second resolved, it should say Invest Buffalo Niagara. And I don't have a copy of the current resolution to tell you what it was. We had the wrong name for Invest Buffalo Niagara. We had Buffalo something, but
Okay.
it wasn't Invest Buffalo Niagara.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. So we do need a motion now, right? Which we did. Yeah. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Old business, anything? New business? Good of the order? Motion to adjourn. Mr. Havy? Mr. Kern? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.